Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome into a Monday, January 26th edition of KC Sports Tonight. I am Mark Poulose, joined by Katie Maher on this cold Monday. Katie, show the viewers what you have here. It's a little cold here. How are you feeling today?
You can't see it, but I have been walking everywhere with my blanket today, so it's just gonna rest down here. And because you guys don't know, but this half of our building, very cold. So we got the blanket for warmth today. It's needed.
Certainly has been very cold this week, and I hope you guys have been staying tuned with us right here on KCTV5, on air, online, and on streaming, as our weather team and news team has been providing excellent coverage of this winter storm. Hoping you guys stayed safe and stayed warm during this very, very cold stretch of tough weather that we had here in Kansas City. But while it's cold outside, things are hot here on the sports front today. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid met with the media today to discuss the rehiring of offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy here to Kansas City, previously having that role from 2018 to 2022, helping the Chiefs bring 2 Super Bowl titles to Kansas City. Katie, you sat in on this presser today. For Chiefs fans out there, what do they need to know?
That Andy Reid is, quote, fired up about the return of Eric Bieniemy. He used that quote or that phrase a few times today. He also made it a point, and this is the thing that stuck out the most to me in this press conference. He wants to make it clear that they weren't pushing Matt Nagy out. Matt Nagy wants to be a head coach and, quote, run the show if he can't be a head coach, which I believe loosely translates to calling plays, because we know Andy Reid does that. It's kind of why Eric Bieniemy left to pursue other opportunities 3 years ago. Andy Reid talked a lot about Matt Nagy today. I mean, he talked about Eric Bieniemy for at least 50% of the press conference, but it always felt like there was a Matt Nagy mention in there because he really wanted to make it clear that he was not comparing. He wanted to make it clear that by highlighting something with Eric Bieniemy that he does great, it doesn't mean that that's something that Matt Nagy was lacking as offensive coordinator, because I think he's just a little afraid that that's what the narrative has kind of become. And, 2 weeks ago, I think, when Patrick Mahomes had his first media availability since injuring his knee, talked to him over Zoom, someone asked him, Matt Nagy's coming up on the end of his contract. Like, everyone kind of knew at that point Matt Nagy wants to be a head coach in the NFL. It's kind of been just a known thing for all this entire season. Andy Reid even said today that before the season began, they talked, and he knew that at the end of his contract this year, he was going to want to be seeing if head coaching was an opportunity for him. And now there are a lot of opportunities in the NFL, obviously. But when Patrick Mahomes was asked what he would want in an offensive coordinator, he said some things, none of which were a dig at Matt Nagy, but I think a lot of people took them as a dig at Matt Nagy, as if he's lacking these qualities, when they were really just things that Mahomes just wants in an offensive coordinator. I mean, Matt Nagy was his quarterback's coach before he was the offensive coordinator in Kansas City. So he's been with Nagy a long time. I don't think any of it was a dig at him. And I think that Andy Reid just wanted to spend a lot of time really highlighting that today, that nothing positive about EB is a negative for Matt Nagy, is what it really just felt like. And also, he wants him to be a head coach. He said that multiple times today. And I think he was kind of maybe trying to help campaign for him a little bit, because he hasn't landed a head coaching job in the NFL yet. But yeah, on the Eric Bieniemy side of things, they're excited. Obviously, we know the Chiefs like some familiarity, whether it's with their players, with their coaching staff, say what you will, but AB has been gone for 3 years. He has experienced things outside the NFL. He was the running backs coach of one of the top offenses in the league this year, for 2 really good running backs, and that's a position that Kansas City struggled at. And Andy Reid did confirm he will still be calling plays going forward. No shock there. But he is open to EV's input and maybe sometimes letting him call some plays. That's the long-winded gist of that.
Yeah, a lot going on out there today with the Andy Reid availability. I think maybe one thing that really stood out to me and obviously stood out to you was the amount of times that Matt Nagy was mentioned in a press conference that's supposed to be about Eric Bieniemy coming back here to Kansas City. And I think it kind of got me thinking there. Obviously, there's a lot of coaches around the NFL that have had, there are very few coaches around the NFL that have had success. And the ones that do have relatively large coaching trees of guys that have gone on to do a lot of great things in the NFL. And I started to think, like, Andy Reid might be one of the guys that, I mean, he's a multiple-time Super Bowl champion. Like, how big is his coaching tree?
Gotta be big at this point.
But I was like, who? Like, Doug Peterson's gone on to become a head coach. Matt Nagy's gone on to become a head coach. But obviously, neither of those guys are head coaches in the NFL now. And I guess kind of where I was going with this point is it kind of seems like the NFL has kind of maybe flipped the page on the Andy Reid era of football. Like, you look at some of these guys that are getting head coaching interviews around the league, and the guys that really do seem to be kind of finalists or in contention for some of these jobs. And these are not guys of, let's just say it, like Matt Nagy was a finalist for the Titans job, and the guy that used to be the assistant GM for the Kansas City Chiefs opted to not hire a guy that he had worked with for many, many years. He decided to go with Robert Saleh out of the 49ers organization. So kind of interesting to see that maybe Andy Reid is one of the best coaches in NFL history, but maybe now some of his proteges, some of his other guys. I mean, Steve Spagnuolo, we heard he was a link to some of these head coaching opportunities, and what's kind of gone on with that? Yeah. Haven't heard a lot on that, but I will say the Chiefs probably don't let a lot of this information get out because, just as Katie said, like, the Chiefs did hire Eric Bieniemy, but we don't know who some of the other coordinator candidates that they brought in were to have that job.
And Andy Reid did say that he did interview other candidates for the job. Obviously, the Chiefs don't have to release who it is, so he didn't mention that. But he made it a point to say, Eric Bieniemy was coaching in the playoffs, so we had to fill time between being able to interview him and him coaching and the end of the season and all that stuff. So that a lot of people, I think, assumed that they didn't interview anybody else. Andy Reid says they did. Yeah.
I mean, they might have interviewed Eric Bieniemy, and they knew that he was going to be the guy, and then they interviewed probably two other internal candidates. They said, all right, this is an interview. It's probably not all that real, but we're checking some boxes, and we're bringing EV back, and that's what happened. But, hey.
You know what I think? When you talk about the coaching tree and whose coaching tree is becoming popular in the NFL and all that stuff, Kyle Shanahan is a name that comes to mind. I think that his coaching tree is maybe, when you, like, the list of names that comes out of that, you're like, oh, okay. But it's kind of back to a conversation that you and I have had several times on here, just about how everyone wants the hotshot young guy. They want to find that new face, like Ben Johnson, like Seahawks coach, like, not his name,
McDonald.
They want their Sean McVay. Like, they want those hotshot young guys. Maybe the Andy Reid coaching tree isn't where you find them anymore. Who knows?
Yeah, Andy Reid does not hire a lot of youth or put youth in big positions. I think that is a good point. But, hey, we'll see what happens. Andy Reid, I think he still knows how to coach some football, and I think he has the rings to prove it. So we'll see how everything unfolds. But we have more to talk about today than just the Chiefs. Eric Bieniemy returning to the Chiefs as offensive coordinator. Over the weekend, Kansas and K-State basketball met both men's and women's, with KU winning both those games handily. But we want to focus on the game on Saturday out there in the Little Apple. KU playing without star Darren Peterson against the K-State Wildcats. K-State entered that game, I believe, 1-5 in conference play. KU 4-2. KU close game there down the stretch. K-State really had things going, and then KU closed the game on a 27-7 run, pretty much right after K-State got one of their big FKU chants going. And then late in the game, Katie, I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure you did. Melvin Council, I believe, got a late steal, gets it out to Trey White. Trey White dunks it. Melvin kind of does a mockery of the K-State.
The Wabash cannonball.
Yeah, exactly. And then after the game in the handshake line, it looked like K-State head coach Jerome Tang might have given a little bit of extra love to Melvin Council. To me, this is all just good rivalry fun, but Katie, I got to say, the head coach giving a little bit of a shove to a player on the other team, is that fair or foul from Jerome Tang?
It's weird, and when you watch it from different angles, it's hard to form an exact opinion about what exactly happened. But Melvin Council does react, like he feels like he's been pushed. He turns around and looks behind him, and he's like, what the heck just happened? Jerome Tang does go on to also, because he shakes his hand, puts his hand on his shoulder, and that's where you kind of see a little bit of a shove. He does the same thing to the guy after him in line. I mean, I think it's a typical thing for a coach when doing the handshake line. A lot of them will do the pat on the shoulder or whatever. Melvin Council apparently felt some extra pressure with it. I don't know, but you see the video of him back in the locker room afterwards, having the time of his life that Flory Badunga posted on Snapchat, and it proceeded to go everywhere, all over social media. He seemed to be fine, but if it was in fact a shove, and we don't know for sure, it's weird.
No,
it's weird.
It's if it looked like there was a little bit of a shove. Now, obviously, is this something to get all up in arms about? No, I don't think so. I think this is just rivalry action. I think there was a lot of animosity in that building. I think also Coach Tang might feel pressure that he's coaching for his job and then just lost to a rival. But what I will say a little bit, as a head coach of a Division I program, you have to rise above that stuff. Like, you're supposed to be the leader of the team, the leader of the program, an ambassador for the university, an ambassador for the state of Kansas. And I mean, come on. Like, if your entire arena is chanting a 4-letter F word KU at the other team, like, what do you expect the other team to sit there and not react to what you're doing? Like, I mean, they're college kids, 18 to 23, 24 years old. Like, I mean, they're gonna fly off the handle a little bit. And it's not like KU did anything wrong. They got a steal and they got a dunk. Like, that's the game of basketball. If you don't like it, you can stop them. But it's just it's rivalry action.
Melvin Council Jr. did do the Wabash at 2 points. It wasn't just the one. Again, not that I'm saying that it's okay to shove him as another coach, but he was for sure having some rivalry fun with it. And you know what I appreciate about that? In today's day and age of college athletics, especially basketball, where these guys are out of school for 1 year, and a lot of times with KU and K-State, it's hard to find local players who grew up in the state of Kansas. It's just not as common. They're usually from out around the country. They don't understand the rivalry as much as someone who's born and raised from the state of Kansas, and the fans do, and all that stuff. It's refreshing to see a guy like Melvin Council Jr., who's just here for one single year with his one final year of eligibility remaining, get fired up about a rivalry game like that. And another point that I'll add is Jerome Tang has never lost to KU on their home court. They've won every year that he's been there. In Bramlage Coliseum. So, and he said that after the game. He was like, it's not a feeling that I enjoy. It's the first time I felt it, blah, 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 blah. If you're going to let your emotions get the best of you like that because you're mad that your rival beat you for the first time in 3 years on your home court, you're going to shove a 22-year-old? How old is he? 23?
He's maybe? A senior. We'll say that.
Final year of eligibility. Yeah. I mean, I guess 22. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, odd situation there. But hey, guys, that's what I mean. Come on, this is it really something to get all up in arms about? No, I don't think so. This is college sports. We love rivalries. We love the juice. We love it when there are big little storylines that come out of big rivalry games like this. And I think it will also just build a little more anticipation for the game that, as in Lawrence. And that one, KU will have Darren Peterson and also have the magic of Allen Fieldhouse. But K-State will be looking to score that upset. What'd you say there, Katie?
I said maybe they'll have Darren
Peterson. Maybe they'll have Darren Peterson. That's a very good point because his availability has not always been key this year. But hey, the ankle injury, it looks like he's going to be back for Saturday's game against BYU, and ESPN's College Game Day is going to be in Lawrence, Kansas for a matchup of the potential number 1 and number 2 overall pick with BYU's A.J. DeBonsa coming to Lawrence. So that'll be a good one out there. But we still, going back to football, this past weekend we had the conference championship games. It was the first time in a long time that our Kansas City Chiefs were not involved. The scores of this game, boy, Katie, it was not an exciting day of football, at least in the early matchup. The Patriots beating the Broncos 10-7. The Patriots will take on the Seattle Seahawks, who beat the Rams 31-27. So, Patriots, Seahawks, Katie, I'm struggling here because the last couple years, it just feels like the Chiefs have been in it every year. Like, we're all super invested in the Super Bowl. But this feels like a snooze fest to me. Should we care about this year's Super Bowl? Because to me, I'm struggling to buy in.
I think if you're in New England and Seattle, you care about this year's Super Bowl. What I will say that this matchup has going for it is, these are completely different teams than the Seattle and the New England teams that play each other in the Super Bowl. What was it, 2014?
Malcolm Butler with the pick.
Yeah, where the Patriots, of course, won it in the end. Tom Brady's not there. Bill Belichick's not there. Seattle, nobody who was there is there. Completely different teams. The country, I on the younger side of the folk, I can speak for like Gen Z, love Drake May and his wife. She's adorable. Bake Miss, if you're on TikTok and you kept up with her baking Christmas series. People have really bought into Drake May as a human being, I think, which is wholesome and fun. But I keep thinking of this meme that I saw that's like, you complain about the Chiefs being in the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl every year, and where did it bring you? Right back to the Patriots.
Yeah, I did. I don't know if that's a place where people.
I'm a little sick of it. I'm from the Northeast, so I'm like, I don't care to see the Patriots win another Super Bowl. The Seahawks have been fun to watch. I think Sam Darnold's story of being the first quarterback from the 2018 draft class to make the Super Bowl is kind of crazy when you remember that class also featured Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield.
I think I saw some crazy stat that he's the first USC quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl, which is a pretty mind-boggling statistic. But
yeah, there are reasons to care, but if you're here in Kansas City, you're just like, eh.
Yeah, well, I feel like, look at last year's Super Bowl. The Chiefs who were going for a dynasty, and then you had, on the other side, you had the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. They
want revenge.
Jalen Hurts was just dropping bar after bar after bar. Philadelphia, the Eagles, we know they come with a big, angry, media-savvy fan base that just gets a lot of attention, a lot of eyeballs. And then here it's just like with the New England Patriots with a new young quarterback who baby face looks like he's barely older than 23, 24 years old. Then you go to Seattle, the Seahawks, like, how many people really watched them this year? They're out there on the West Coast, like it was the late game. I guess they're a good team, but it's just like there's no like heroes or villains in this game. It's just like two teams that we know are in the NFL and they're playing. It's
just
like
two unproblematic teams.
Yeah, like you're dying for a storyline. It's like, well, what is it? Oh, these two played however many years ago, but there's no one. There's no Tom Brady. Sam Darnold. He just doesn't have the juice. Does Drake May have the juice?
Sam Darnold threw for 350 yards last night.
No, Sam Darnold's one heck of a quarterback. What he did with Minnesota and then obviously now with the Seattle Seahawks, I think a lot of players, I think this is a testament to maybe you shouldn't give up on a young quarterback too early. Look at where he started his career with the New York Jets. Sometimes you just go to a bad organization. We were talking about this the other day, like especially in the sport of football. Like there's just bad football that's taught around this world, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's the National Football League. There are people that you just go to bad systems and it just doesn't work. But hey, that's the system that person knew. That's the system that they teach. That's the system that they coach. And it just doesn't always work. So, hey, we'll see what happens. But for me, Super Bowl might be a little bit of a snooze fest. But, Katie, let's get a little early pick out of you. Patriots and Seahawks, what do you think? Because the line right now, Seattle, 4.5-point favorites.
I think Seattle will win it. I think it'll be a close game. I just think Seattle's offense is too high-powered because even if for some reason Sam Darnold decides to choke, which I don't think he will because he's proven himself in the playoffs so far. Like, we all thought that it was going to be like Minnesota last year where he gets to the playoffs and chokes. He didn't do that this year. He's had great games so far. Their offense is so high-powered that even if he does, they've still got Kenneth Walker III. I've been watching Kenneth Walker III be a menace to society on the field since I was in college when he was at Michigan State. And he was beating up my Maryland Terrapins every year.
I saw him come to Miami and beat the Hurricanes. I didn't like that.
Yeah, so I'm like, he's a ridiculous player. So even if they can't get it going, which they definitely will, because Jackson Smith and Jigba is just unreal for a young guy. I think their offense is just too good. And the Patriots have a really good defense. Mike Vrabel is a defensive-minded coach, of course. And it's a cool storyline, with Mike Vrabel. He could become the first person ever to win a Super Bowl, both as a player and a coach for the same team. Like, that's a cool storyline. I'm just sick of seeing the Patriots win Super Bowls. So I'm going to pick the Seahawks. I think it'll be close. I just think they've got the slight offensive advantage.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Both teams super loaded, obviously. That's why they got to the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time, see who wins that one. But we still have more football to talk about today as it relates to the Kansas City Chiefs because another team within their division got better today. The LA Chargers, who beat the Chiefs this season 2 times and also went to the playoffs, have a new offensive coordinator. He's a former head coach in the National Football League. His name is Mike McDaniel, and he is widely regarded as one of the most innovative minds in all of football. Now he is tasked with getting the most he can out of Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, and the other weapons that they have out there in Los Angeles under Jim Harbaugh. Katie, my question for you, obviously the Chiefs missed the playoffs this year. They were 3rd place in their division. And now one of the teams that's ahead of them has probably hired one of the best offensive minds in all of football. I know the Chiefs just brought back Eric Bieniemy, but who had the better offensive coordinator hire, the LA Chargers or the Kansas City Chiefs?
Ooh.
Arguments on both sides here.
Yeah. Eric Bieniemy's proven himself as a guy who has helped the Chiefs win 2 Super Bowls. Mike McDaniel did not do that in his time in Miami. Then again, he did have Tua Tagovailoa as his quarterback. And I think that it has been proven that Tua should not be a starting quarterback in the NFL anymore.
Are you giving up on a young QB too early?
I'm not giving up on a young QB too early. He's like older than me, I think.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of injuries there.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are a lot of Chiefs fans out there that were kind of having like obviously this was something that would never happen because of how the Chiefs operate. But a lot of Chiefs fans had like this pipe dream that if they moved on from Matt Nagy, that maybe they could pair Mike McDaniel with Patrick Mahomes and the weapons that the Chiefs have on offense. And I think, I mean, obviously, if I were the Chiefs, I mean, clearly they would have never have done this, but I think any team in the NFL should have been like, hey, like Mike McDaniel, like we'll give you $8 to $10 million. We will pay you as a head coach to run our offense because offense is so valuable in the National Football League. And when you see what Jim Harbaugh did out there at LA, like that's a guy that's a CEO type of the program, of the organization, I should say, out there. And he wanted a guy to run the offensive side of the football. So what did he do? They hired probably the best offensive coordinator candidate on the market who was also in contention to be a head coach. And I would have to assume, I mean, they don't really disclose a lot of numbers on these coordinator or coaches hires, but he was paid very, very handsomely to be a coordinator instead of pursue head coach opportunities. So, Katie, do you wish the Chiefs would have been more open to maybe hiring a guy like Mike McDaniel instead of staying in the fold with a guy like Eric Bieniemy?
I would just love to know who the other coaching candidates were that they interviewed.
Like, I bet one was Joe Blameyer, their pass game coordinator, and there's like, all right, buddy, we're going to keep you on. We're going to do this as a song and dance. But
yeah, I wish they were more open to just seeing what else was out there. And that's not me hating on Eric Bieniemy and what he can do. If he can come back and reignite the spark in this offense and make use of the tools that he has at his disposal, like, fantastic. That's what everyone wants. He's had proven success here, and the only reason he left was because he wanted to call plays and maybe see if he could become a head coach. And did that for 1 year in Washington as OC, didn't work out. Tried UCLA, didn't work out. Running backs coach, has success there, yada, yada, yada. I don't think it would have happened, like you said. I agree with you, because the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're a little stuck in their ways. Maybe the right way to phrase it. They
trust their formula,
yes,
and their formula has worked.
Yes, and that's the perfect way to say it. Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel seem like this like wacky duo of like two like just crazy football sicko-minded guys who just eat, sleep, and breathe football and are a little weird and crazy, but in like a fun way.
To me, it's like
I like the duo almost. I mean, sorry, Chiefs Kingdom, but I like the duo.
Well, I know Jim Harbaugh already has a brother that's in the NFL, but to me, this situation kind of looks like a brother that was like the valedictorian, captain of the football team, like that kind of guy, and then like the younger brother who knew that his brother was like going to be the man. He probably would, like it just.
He hangs out in the woods during lunch break.
Yeah, and you know, he took a little bit of a different path in life, but he's obviously a very gifted football mind, and now they've come together, and they're going to see what happens. But Katie, boy, think about some of the offensive minds that are here in the AFC West right now. Mike McDaniel, then I mean, there's Sean Payton, there's Andy Reid, there's Eric Bieniemy, and I assume whoever the Las Vegas Raiders hire as a head coach, I mean, they're going to likely draft Fernando Mendoza #1 overall, and I assume the head coach that they hire will be a guy that will work with Fernando Mendoza. So I assume it will be another kind of high-profile offensive mind. So I think the AFC West could be pretty exciting here the next couple years.
Yeah, and the Raiders are going to want a quarterback whisperer because they're going to have to draft a quarterback. And when you have a young quarterback, that's what you want, a QB whisperer, someone who can really mentor him, and et cetera, et cetera. I will not believe that the Chargers can do anything meaningful, as in, like, make it to the AFC Championship. Obviously, they made the playoffs, and that's cool for them. Until they get an offensive line. Like, Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. He has weapons, et cetera, et cetera. He has no protection.
Yeah, they have no protection.
They're not doing anything unless they actually draft good offensive linemen for him.
And correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe Justin Herbert still has yet to win a playoff game in the National Football League. So the next win he gets in the playoffs is going to be the first. So that's going to be a big hurdle for them. I know that people, it's one win. That's a monkey on his back that he's going to have to get off. So we'll see what happens there. You know, the lights shine brighter in the playoffs, and players don't always play well. Just ask C.J. Stroud this last offseason. It didn't, or the last postseason. It didn't really look too good. All right, we got about 5.5 minutes left here, and a few topics to talk about here on local shoutouts. The first one has to do with a member of the KC Current. Her name is Claire Hutton, and she is just 20 years young. And this weekend, she got to serve as the youngest captain ever in the history of the United States women's national team and their exhibition against Paraguay. So I want to give a quick shout out to Claire Hutton. Katie, we've seen the KC Current kind of be on the leading edge of many things here in the the sport of soccer. But to see Claire wear that armband 20 years young, how cool is that?
That is crazy, and it speaks to the future that the KC Current will have. Like, obviously Lola Bonta is their captain, like we were talking about earlier, and she's the heart and soul of that team. But to know that they also have players who are capable of being a leader at just the age of 20 years old, and is making a name for herself on the international stage, I should say.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it speaks to what the KC Current is building, obviously. And she's got a good core around her of other young players who are so exciting to watch and are on the U.S. women's national team and are becoming these household names like Izzy Rodriguez, Allie Sentner. Like, they're best friends, and they're so fun together when they're at the podium, like post-game together. So, yeah, super exciting, and it's only fitting that it's coming from the KC Current because they're ahead of everybody in everything.
No, you and I were watching some of the video in the sports office, and it was like, oh, here's the U.S. women's national team, and oh, there's Izzy Rodriguez. She's our girl. Oh, there's Claire Hutton. She's one of our girls. Oh, there's Allie Sentner. Oh, my gosh, that's another KC Current. And then Lola Bonta. I mean, how many players are there on a national team? And the KC Current had 4 of them the other night. Very cool to see that. And also, guys, coming up tonight at 6 p.m., we're going to hear from the U.S. women's national team head coach. She had a very cool soundbite about Claire and her potential in the future. I think you guys will want to hear that because it sounds like we might be seeing Claire wear that armband for a couple more years here to come. Very cool to see that, and another local connection here in town. And one other thing we have got to talk about, out at Cable Dahmer Arena, the best team in the ECHL is just absolutely on fire. Your Kansas City Mavericks have won 14 games in a row. Their last one on Saturday, it was an absolute thriller. They're taking on the Tahoe Night Monsters, one of the best names in the league. And the Mavericks were down 3-2 late in the third. The captain, David Cotton, scored the game-tying goal. It goes to overtime, and then Jimmy Glenn slapped home the game winner to give the Mavericks a 4-3 win. Katie, those 14 wins in a row, the most all-time, tying their franchise record for the Mavericks in the ECHL. Great for the sport of hockey. How about those Mavericks?
Yeah, this Saturday night they've got a home match. So if you want to see them make franchise history and win 15 in a row, which would be their most ever, because like you said, right now the 14 just tied it, you got to go watch them do that. Because this team, we have one of the best hockey teams in the country at their level. Right here in our backyard. You gotta
guys,
go watch
there's
them.
so much juice out there at Cable Dahmer Arena. If you go to a game, I promise you are very likely to go back, and you are going to be treated to literally the best hockey team in the ECHL. I think the season is 76 games, 79 games, somewhere in there. They've won 14 of those in a row. And think about some of the things that have gone on in the ECHL this year. There has been a strike. There has been a break from these where the players were away. There's been a lot going on there in that league. But guess what? The KC Mavericks, a good sign for them, staying strong and getting all that done. Katie, a couple more minutes here. Is there anything else, any other local shout-outs that we need to have? Oh, what we were talking about in the sports office. Rockhurst grad Nathan Shielhouse, head coaching candidate in the NFL. He's talking to the Cleveland Browns, and I believe he's also talking to the Buffalo Bills. Be very cool to see the former Illinois standout quarterback and also Iowa State offensive coordinator get a job there in the NFL as a head coach. And then also a report out of the BBC says that England, when they come to the United States for this summer's World Cup, boy, it's coming up here real quick the more and more I think about it, but they have put in a request to stay at Swope Soccer Village. Now, obviously that is something that is not concerned, but the BBC are not confirmed, but the BBC with that report. Katie, World Cup's going to be here before we know it. England looks like they want to maybe have their home base here. How excited are you?
I'm excited because I don't even think they're going to be the only team that wants to set up home base here. There's so many facilities, including the Currents, and then, out at Rock Chalk Park in Lawrence and all that stuff, that has a lot of international teams saying these are crazy, and they're in the state of Kansas and the state of Missouri. What?
That's right.
I think they're not going to be the only ones, and it's going to be exciting to see how many teams we have here.
Hey, guys, how cool is that? These teams, these national teams, they get to go all over the country, all over North America, see the facilities that they want to go to, and it sounds like some of these, they look at all of them, and they're picking to come right here to Kansas City. That's how exciting it is, and that's how good the facilities are right here in the Metro. So, hey, guys, that's a look at KC Sports tonight on this Monday, this cold Cold Monday coming up tonight at 6. We're going to have more on Claire Hutton. Katie has a great story with Eric Bieniemy, and we will see you guys same place right here tomorrow. Take care, guys.